What started Area 55 initially, and what is Area 55? Also, one of the worlds from Area 55 that stuck out to me was the Wonka experience. Reminds me of a certain video that came out a long time ago. I
Oh
got a good
no.
laugh.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that world took me like 1 or 2 days to build. Um, I just saw all the news. I'm like, I should probably be on top of this, and so I kind of like quickly just gathered some resources and
Welcome to the Metaverse TGen. I'm Lion.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and we have one guest and one and a half, and that is
hi.
Oh, who are you? What are you most known for, and how'd you get started with everything?
Okay, so I'm Starport 55. So what I'm known for is my fireworks shows that I do in VR. Um, Basically how I started those is a long time before I knew VR chat. Basically, there's this game called Planet Coaster. Um, that that taught me everything I know in terms of fireworks shows. Uh, it's a lot interesting though because the way fireworks are triggered on that game is a lot different than on here. For example, there's this thing called a trigger sequencer, and that was all that was all based off of seconds and milliseconds. It didn't have a timeline or anything, so this really taught me patience.
Oh,
Yeah, a
how
lot of patience.
Oh, how did you get into VR chat as well, and what made you start those projects from the fireworks to what you're doing here?
I would give all that credit to my sister. She she sent me a text one day and she was like, "Hey, you should check out this game called VR Chat. And there's like a lot of cool places you can explore and animation worlds, things like that." And I was like, "Okay." So one day I decided to boot it up, and the first world that was ever shown to me was um, it was one of those particle animation worlds.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, that captured my imagination, and from there I was like, what if we did the same thing but with fireworks? I haven't really seen a lot of fireworks shows in VR chat, so I kind of self-taught myself into Unity and the particle system, and everything kind of just fell into place from there. I think my first ever show was it was Luminous, I believe it's called. It was like a Christmas fireworks show.
oh wow. So what
Hmm.
what about doing fireworks kept your attention so long to be patient, as you said? It taught you like what about the whole process of building it and making things kept you returning?
I'd say, for one thing, it's definitely the um, like my creative output. I can just sit down out for hours and focus on this. Um, it's also a really cool way to like tell stories
Hmm.
and kind of capture emotions in a unique way. Um, and especially afterwards, after the fireworks shows, like getting to just like sit around with my friends and being able to hear their reactions and what they get out of it. It's very rewarding.
Hmm. Okay. How many fireworks shows have you worked on since you started, may I ask?
Oh gosh. I'd say about what 9 or 10.
9 or 10.
Um, yeah, 3 of them, including the fireworks shows for Feraldi. That one started with the Luma Festival, then I went to Feraldi Silva, then Feraldi Umbra.
Wow, so you've been doing
I got a
fireworks shows
question
for
for.
Aldi. Cool.
Do you do your fireworks with music at all?
Yes. Yes. Almost always. Um, it it kind of is a factor that helps elevate the experience. It's just I don't know. I I can't do them without music.
Oh,
Okay.
well, it's pretty. I think it's pretty impressive. You're doing fireworks shows for Aldi, for as an example, and even like we're going about Raptor and I before meeting up with you. We're going on some of the worlds you've uploaded for Area 55, and everything's amazing. Your work speaks for itself. At least I think so.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a lot of like non-public worlds that haven't been uploaded yet because it's either one, I lost them in the files, or two, they were just so like complicated to upload.
Alrighty. So what? Let's go back to like some of your first days in VR chat. We'll start back and move forward. What were some of your first memories or most memorable times you've had when you first came into VR chat, and what from there what led you to your first like creation of fireworks and worlds and all that?
I guess my most memorable would be it was right after I started picking up on world building. Um, this thing was called Pixel Fairy Grotto. It was a gift to my sister. Just as like a thank you for showing me VR chat, and while it was pretty, it was super laggy. Oh my gosh, it was not optimized at all. um, but ever since I've like really grown from there, I guess that's just like what started it all. Again, when that takes me into the Christmas fireworks show, that was my first one. Um, that one, that one was really a challenge in like terms of figuring things out by myself, as well as a bunch of YouTube videos. I watched so many. It's just like trying to teach myself how to work with particles, and also, yeah, that was just like the first thing ever.
Oh,
And then we
I'll ask
had
you.
a. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You have the floor. Go ahead. I can wait.
Alright. um. Oh, there's this other event. I was like, what? When I was turned 23 years old, it was like a birthday thing, and I did fireworks for that as well. That kind of counts as my second, and kind of got the ball rolling. I'd say in my creative firework journey, making things explode.
oh,
He's a pyro in VR. I hope he doesn't burn the place down, Wayne. We're all screwed.
oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Um,
Okay, my question is, when you first came in the VR, when your sister brought you in, or hopefully she didn't drag you in like we or some people and everything else like this. What was the weirdest thing you ever saw in VR?
Um, I think it was like a Disney Horror World, and I don't I can't find the right words to describe it, but it was like part parkour, part art exhibit, and had a bunch of PNGs of like Mickey Mouse and Disney characters, and but it it was definitely interesting. It was, yeah.
Okay,
Words can't describe it. It's one of those
gotcha.
things you have to experience yourself to figure out.
If you still have the link, if you want to show us the world, I'll say the link and I'll put the description for them, for the audience to experience the world themselves.
Yes, exactly.
So, from those experiences you mentioned prior with the fireworks, your first couple of shows, how much prep time did it take for you to create those experiences, and what did you learn from them after you completed it, the whole journey?
Some of them took, like, let's say the first one. The first one took me a month to figure out. Um, that one includes like including the time in YouTube and learning tutorials. Um, that one took what, like 2 or 3 days, kind of afterwards to just, like, settle down from. That one. That, since that one was like the first again, the whole, I guess, aftermath, and the whole outcome of that one was definitely kind of got me hooked. I even remember one of my good friends. They turned toward me, and I could just hear it in their voice. They were just like emotional. I was like, oh no, did I do something wrong? And they're like, no, you. They said you've somehow found a way to remind me of when I went to Disneyland with my parents. It was like,
Aw.
yeah.
Oh, what about?
And
Oh, sorry. You continue. I'll ask my question after.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask, what about that experience got you hooked?
The emotional impact.
Hmm.
Just like something so kind of simple, just particles exploding in the sky can be so impactful for people. Um, oh my gosh, there's so many stories I could tell with just the how people took out, what people took out of my fireworks experiences, and even brought me closer to one of my great friends.
Oh, I remember Glitch was telling us of one of those experiences in the Ferality when he first met you, and even when we first met you at one of Corbell's events, he just pointed and talked about the time he met you and how much it meant, and we heard all about that fireworks show they experienced and the emotional impact that had for people, and a few other stories as well. Did you ever expect the kind of impact from people initially?
No, I did not. Uh, um, usually it's just like, okay, this is just something cool to show people, and I didn't really expect much else. It kind of took me by surprise when it first happened. I was like, huh. Well, I just didn't expect people to react in that way. And yeah, it did. And it kind of showed me that, like, almost through anything in VR, you can create a emotional and memorable experience for anyone.
Oh. So, of all your fireworks shows, what meant the most to you?
Uh, you mean like what show in particular, or like
Yeah, were there any
what?
shows that kind of meant the most to you, either before or after making it?
Ah, I'd say the fireworks for all the Umbra. That one took about a week for me to complete, which yeah, very fast tracked, very rapid pace. But it was really rewarding. Seeing afterward, and, I got to spend a lot of time with people who I've just met or my close friends during those shows, and getting to kind of share my creative mind with them, and also share an experience with being with them. Fun fact. So the Aurora Borealis and the meteor shower that happened at the end, that was a last minute thing. That was something I kind of decided to add because the show, when I was done with it, felt like I needed something else. It just needed something to close off. And so when I made that, it was also a tribute to all my friends, to everyone who stuck beside me through all this time. And I've I've gotten to hear, at least through one person through every showing, like someone was just emotional, and heck, someone even got engaged during those fireworks.
Wow.
I was like, getting the getting the opportunity to help create those memories, and yeah, it's my goodness, I'm getting emotional over here.
Take the time you need.
Time you need. Yeah, take your time. I got a question for him. Knowing what you've done and everything else like this, what goals are you shooting for in the future? What's the big thing? Not trying to let anything out of the bag, but do you have those big goals that you want to try to shoot for?
Hopefully one day just take it out of VR and into the real world.
Oh.
I don't know, just having like a real life implication, just like something I can use this talent, I guess, or just this creative outlet for something that can be seen, in, I don't know, some sort of convention, or just like an event. So that would be really neat.
Oh.
Mm, uh, my inspiration kind of through all these fireworks shows is well, Disney. Disneyland, their fireworks shows. Oh my goodness. They kind of set the standard for um almost all the fireworks shows today, and um it's kind of something I kind of fall back to whenever I am running low on ideas. I just pull up one of a video of one of their fireworks displays, and afterwards I was just like, okay, now I got all these ideas. So it's really, yeah, definitely biggest inspiration. Also, if you ever if you ever get the chance to rewatch Illuminations: Reflections of Earth, that was a show at Epcot. Yes, that one. That's like one of the shows I haven't seen in real life, but it's extinct because they don't have it anymore, unfortunately. But um, it's set off a major ripple, I guess, or shockwave into everything I do. I, I kind of have plans to recreate it someday in the future. So.
Oh wow. So what about the
Yeah.
Disney shows inspire those Disney fireworks shows or shows in general inspire you to do what you do here?
The storytelling and also the way, just like, okay, they bring in multiple things from like projections to lights to props, actual props, or even like fire or water. It kind of told me that like you can bring almost anything into a fireworks show, as long as it's kind of presented correctly. Um, even one of my recent ones for Independence Day, it had a stage, but like this stage, like it could transform into other things. So it started off as like a house, and then it would transform into, you kind of like see it sink down, and then like these rocks would come up, and it would like be the introduction for like a Wild West scene. So that was
Oh.
a lot of me experimenting.
So let's lead to a question and use that as an example. Maybe we can hear some of the others as well. With that one for Independence Day, what kind of story were you trying to tell with your show, and what were some of the other stories you were trying to tell with your shows? May I ask?
Let's see. For this one was kind of like a history and celebration of the USA. So kind of started off with uh, like the indigenous Americans. Started off from there, and then kind of like jumped forward and backwards. So it would basically, it went to colonial America, then over to the Great Frontier, Wild West, things like that, and then ended off with the what is it? Stars and Stripes Forever. That song. That's one of the classic songs to use for fireworks shows, especially during 4th of July. But yeah, that one, the story wasn't really something I really kept in mind of when I was working with it. It was more the music and the stage that a lot of my fireworks shows at least have some form of experimentation in there.
Hmm.
So like actually, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about this, but but actually, here goes.
If you're not allowed to talk about it, don't get yourself in trouble.
I think it'll be fine. So it's like kind of the whole event is like done and over, and also, it was mostly me that did the stuff, but for all the Umbra, that one, since it was like on like this huge tower, and it was also acting as like a spaceport. You had like this beacon on the top, and well, when I was like throwing some ideas with like the creative team, like that kind of was something we wanted to shoot for, the beacon, and like how it just unfolded. So I kind of took it into like my own interpretation. So this beacon kind of helps with the weather, like the climate control of Umbra. So
Oh wow. So
yeah.
now that you're talking about Ferality and Umbra, how did you even get started working with Umbra? Because for the sounds, you did quite a few shows for them now, man. I'm quite interested.
it, it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, well, we're keeping you around for the next one. I was like, okay.
Oh, did they reach out to you the first time, or did you gotta get connected?
Welcome to your worst nightmare.
We've been watching,
and we know what's scary.
this Halloween.
The static isn't
Just
noise. It's your
Darkest fear.
tune in.
if you dare.
So how I got connected was I actually reached out to them. For Limit Festival, they did a bunch of talent shows, things like that, and I was like, okay, maybe we could have a fireworks show. Maybe it's like a talent show thing, and well, that kind of led me to talking with Dalton, and then talking with a bunch of other people in the Friday team, and next thing you know, I was just added in as like part of the team, and they right after the event ended, I was like, okay, so does it just end from here, or does it just carry on? And that's what happened. It kind of just carried on to the next couple of events.
Oh,
They kind of just kept, yeah, kept me around like most of my friends do. I'm an introvert, and so all my extrovert friends just keep me around in their friend circles.
Ah. So, how is your work with Ferality different from the other projects you've worked on?
Oh, this one, it felt a lot more professional. Felt more like, you know, the whole setting was like, it's like, wow, it feels like I'm part of a, in a game dev. Just, you know, a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations and talking with other people, a lot of planning, a lot of, here's my idea, and, you know, here's what I'm thinking in terms of music for this, etc. And you know, outside of that, a lot of it is just kind of left up to my own decisions. um, like I, I kind of have one coming up that's um themed around the elements. So you have fire, water, air, and earth, and this one I'm kind of bringing in some extra elements in terms of particles and show elements, things like water and fire. I haven't really played around with those as much, so
Oh,
we'll see how this goes, and also we'll see if it's super laggy or not.
so of all the projects you've worked on, what are some of the things you're most proud of?
Ooh, um, well, for all the Umbra, that one, and also the oh my gosh, there's no official name for it, but it was for the Christmas celebration. That was for last year. So I built like this whole castle. Oh, and pressing wrong buttons. I built this whole castle, and I was able to like kind of projection map it, but not really. It was just a screen mesh that I placed in front of it. But that had its own visuals and lights going on with it, and it's definitely one of my favorite and most proud of shows. Although not everyone has seen it because it's since it's synced with a video, it's kind of a pain to set up. So
Oh. Oh, okay. I have another unique question as well. How does working with particles and shaders to bring about a fireworks show differ from what someone would normally experience in Unity for the average player? Like, is it more complicated, less complicated? Depends. I've never messed with it.
I'd say more or less. It kind of depends on your own experience level. Like for example, I have a lot of people who work with VRSL, so that's like external software, and you're working within Unity, and let's say like sometimes up to 3 or 4 other programs running at the same time.
Oh.
So again, it's all up to user experience.
Okay. Now, when you first were teaching yourself to do this kind of thing, were there a lot of resources, or took a lot of interesting trial and error?
I found like 1 or 2 resources that I looked into, and just the way they were taught, I was able to like immediately grab onto that and then just explore. That's what they really encourage, exploring from like a base knowledge. So from a lot of discovery and kind of like looking around trying to see what looks best, I was able to make like they're kind of like called like swimming stars. They kind of like it kind of explodes outward, and then these kind of have like their own go into your own little path. They kind of like scatter, kind of like fireflies.
Oh,
That was a lot of using real life examples and also just experimentation.
oh, okay. So from your shows with fireworks, what led you into world building? Because as we kind of said in the beginning, we explored some of your worlds and we were fascinated by them. What led you down that track?
Pixel Fairy Grotto, the first world. First world I made. It kind of just it kind of just started as one thing, just snowballed into a bunch of other. So once I started creating, I couldn't stop.
Ah,
I was like, wow, yeah, there's like so much you could do in this game, but like the possibilities are almost like limitless. So it kind of captured my attention from there.
So how many worlds have you made? And am interested in like the for example the Dimensions worlds where we just explored those because it's close to spooky season. I wanted to give them a try, and they were really unique. Those were the Area 55, or those are your different experiences entirely?
Those are all like under Area 55 worlds. Let's see, I am currently living at 87.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of worlds.
Yeah. A lot of them. Most of them like don't even get to see the light of day because like sometimes I'm also forget to use that weekly lab publication thing that they have in VR chat, but also even like some of them like don't even they'll go into labs and then that's it. I was like, okay. Which is fine. But yeah, so things like Dimensions of Doom, that's all part of Area 55, which is kind of like a big old thing that I am working on. Basically, its whole lore is there's like a space station or like like a massive transit center that you can take like portals. So it can like take a portal to anywhere in the universe, even across dimensions, and you can just travel and discover new things, and that's what it's kind of based around. The art stuff.
So what started Area 55 initially, and what is Area 55? Also, what are the worlds from Area 55 that stuck out to me was the Wonka experience. Reminds me of a certain video that came out a long time ago. I got a good laugh.
Oh no. Oh my gosh, yeah. So that world took me like 1 or 2 days to build. I just saw all the news. I'm like, I should probably be on top of this, and so I kind of like quickly just gathered some resources and figured that together.
I got a good chuckle from that world. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. And there was also some like differences between day one and like a couple days later. For example, there was like a gradual thing with I had some parents who were all upset. And then later on I added some like police tape that was like strung across the entrance, and it's just like the place was closed. There was some like police cars in there. Just totally going along with the meme.
I don't blame you. So what is Area 55 and what got the whole project started?
So Area 55, it's like my exploration grounds, but also it's a VR chat club. So I hold events like every 1 or 2 months. Kind of depends on my hyper focus levels. So that actually started again in Planet Coaster. It was originally going to be a place where it was kind of like those immersive art experiences, kind of like Meow Wolf or Wake the Tiger in Bristol, or what's another cool example? Well, a lot of people know of Mega Mark, which like, that is Meow Wolf. That's one of my favorites. It's kind of planned to be something like that, where a bunch of creators could like collaborate in making immersive art spaces, which it kind of transferred over to here, and it has its own lore now. From there, it basically I wanted to find my own kind of like a niche with these club events. I wanted to have something that was different every time you've stepped into the club or stepped into an event. So that's why it's very rare to see the same event same event theme happen twice. A lot of my worlds are like a one-time use. That's why most of them don't really go into labs or public, because it's just once I'm done with that world, it's like, okay, on to the next thing. What?
Wow.
But yeah, for example, Electric Reef, Electric Reef 2, that was the sequel. That one came. That wouldn't happen because of, well, the first one, there was some weird, like, world bugs in that one. So, it kept crashing. So, I was like, okay, maybe we should just try redoing this. And that's what we did. And I connected it with the Sound Machine universe. Sound Machine, it's all based off of this whole steampunk aesthetic, and it's all around like this World's Fair that happened. With this World's Fair, there's like this giant machine. I mean, it's just like steam and cogs and things like that, that can produce sound, hence Sound Machine. With this, during the event and the World's Fair, we invited a bunch of people from all across the globe to perform on this machine. And that's kind of how the lore of Sound Machine is. And then the Electric Reef, that's all about going and diving underwater to find Atlantis, which we did eventually find. It only took, a second world for that to happen. But yeah, I like connecting all my event themes with like their own backstory and lore. Kind of leads into an upcoming event called TerraVision. Hopefully audience members have like kind of seen teasers of that or have kind of heard of it. And
If they've seen the glitch interview all the way through, there's a teaser for TerraVision somewhere in there.
Oh yeah. I was watching that today and I was like, oh, That was
That was Glitch's request.
oh my gosh, I love Glitchy. um so okay, so I'm gonna go on a tangent,
Go ahead.
but there's a lot of people who keep me going in this VR space and helps, they're like really, really close friends, so we have people such as Glitchy, they're always encouraging me and, helping with helping me like, bounce ideas off of them and kind of just get their input. And I also, I don't know, just the way they like they talk about things in like a way I found interesting, but like in a obviously in good ways, and like I don't know, with them like there's so many things I could talk about my friends, but like that I feel like that would be an episode in itself.
Well, we're here on the topic. Well, how
Yeah.
how have your friends pushed you along and kept you going? Like, why want to emphasize on that point?
They're kind of like, well, I wouldn't say kind of. They are the driving force between everything, with everything I do on here. Everything I do, from fireworks to world building to even just socializing or DJing, things like that. That's all because of them. It's how I give back to them. It's my way of saying thank you, and also, thanks for sticking around with me. Like, heck, even a couple of them I've been able to meet outside of VR chat in the real world. Like DJ Sad Girl, that was she's one of the friends I've known for the longest. We've known each other since like the Planet Coaster community started off. So that was like back in what 2016, 2015.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
You've been in VR chat quite a long time then,
And
from the sounds of it.
I've only been for about 3 or 4 years. Planet Coaster, that goes back a while.
Oh.
But yeah, with DJ Sad Girl, oh my gosh. I have her as a co-founder for Area 55 because she just like, helped a lot with like ideas and event planning, and she's always there to listen. Like even during my bad times, she's like she's like a sister to me. And then, oh my gosh, from being able to hang out with her IRL and going to places like Seattle, that was like so much fun. And she always shows up to events. And yeah. Oh my gosh. There's like a bunch of other people too, like Engineer Isaac. So if you ever heard of like the Waterwolf community, Engineer Isaac and Scientific Cat, they're like the founders. And Isaac, he helps with running the back end, like the stream end of everything during our events, because I I run everything off of a laptop and not an actual PC. So they having them is like the extra boost. Like, and also like kind of an extra I guess, I don't know, wheel in the cart. that that one wheel in the car that like helps get everything running smoothly. That's what they are to me. Like they always. Well, last event they were running live lights and visuals for 10 hours straight,
Oh,
which is a long time.
it is a long time.
I can't thank them enough for that.
Oh,
So, they sacrifice a lot of time and energy for that, and without them, Area 55 events wouldn't be possible. So, definitely got to thank Isaac and Kat and the whole Waterwolf community for that. Oh my, there's just like so many people that have we've kind of like crossed paths, and then next you know, there's just sticking with me along for the ride, and it's everything I do is for them. They're the reasons why I stayed on VR chat, because outside of here, I don't really know a lot of people. So yeah, it's it's been like a crazy 3 to 4 years, just meeting new people constantly and being able to give back to them. Yeah, they're. Oh my gosh, here we go, getting emotional again. Oh my god.
A-okay.
Well,
I very much understand why you would be emotional. It sounds like they mean a whole lot to you.
they do. Right. They mean like the world to me. And that's like even a lot of people like whenever I have things like an event or just something random, like I don't know, a birthday party, something I throw every year. It's kind of my way of saying, thank you for sticking around with me for a year, and it's it's my gift to them. There's just so many people in my time in VR that have touched my heart, I guess, in a way. They've just we've built amazing relationships from that moment we've met, and everything from there has just been just connection after connection. And heck, I gotta thank Glitch for even telling y'all about yeah. Glitch is like Glitch, yeah, it's just like I've been telling everyone about my events, and they're always so like willing to like make those connections and like do marketing, things like that, and I can't thank them enough for what they've been doing. It's yeah.
Oh, so I'm gonna ask you another question of something you alluded to before the tangent, then a little bit. What is TerraVision, and what kind of story do you hope to bring out with that event?
Okay, so TerraVision is planned to be the Halloween event. Like this is supposed to be like super grand and have some like really cool surprises that I plan to throw in there from the marketing side to the actual like event, and it's kind of all based off of, well, screens.
Mm.
It's There's this whole thing like there's something that has been living behind your TV screen all this time, been watching you, and it knows your greatest fears, and it knows your nightmares, and like what scares you. So there is this kind of creature that I've been building that just harnesses the power of TV, of television, and it's been it's been lurking. It's been lurking throughout all these years, just waiting for the right moment to come out and snatch you. So yeah.
Oh.
Really building on storytelling with this one, but also the world environment as well. Like, you'll be able to see things change throughout the event. Things will change right before your eyes. So, I can't really say more than that, but expect this to be something that, like, a lot of surprises, a lot of jump scares too. So, yeah. I've also been working with Jake and Stark. He's an amazing coder, and also Tapcool. Oh my gosh, they're like both together like really really amazing, and like they make things that like could have sound impossible at first. It's possible. So I've been working with kind of developing a really cool system that will also be in its own world. This world will also go public when the time comes. So,
Oh. Where the inspiration for this whole event with TerraVision come from? What inspired it?
so for me, I am I'm a fan of horror, and especially Halloween haunts, like those massive events they hold at theme parks, such as Not Scary Farm. Not Scary Farm is a place I've been trying to go. I've been going to since like 2021. It's been captivating my imagination ever since. There's this old maze called TerraVision, and it was basically a bunch of like parodies of things like TV shows, movies, things like that, with like in its own twisted way, and it was really cool to see, and kind of led into inspiration for this event, where you have these different movie channels, or just TV shows that are all like horror based, and you never know when like something's gonna happen or like something might go wrong.
Oh.
Yeah.
The whole thing sounds
Yeah,
crazy. I can't wait to see it personally.
Yeah, definitely. It's all built from like my love of Halloween and also theme parks as well. You'll see that with the standalone world. I hope I kind of building something that I think I haven't really seen before. So,
Oh, you saying, don't you have another world? Ooh, camera. There we go. Don't you have another world as well, themed around theme parks as well? Dreamland, I think.
um,
from
Oh,
last year, I think.
Dreamland? I think
Not
that
Dreamland.
one
Uh,
last year.
yeah, Dreamscape. There we go. I missed.
Oh, Dreamscape, yes. The Dreamscape one. That one was like kinda, but like it was more a art exhibit.
Ah, okay. So, what were some of the other inspirations for the events you ran? Because from what it sounds, is like it's the kind of event you can only experience once before it's gone. So, what inspired some of the previous ones that you ran?
Let's see. Some of like really fun previous ones were this one was like a collab between Furwave, called it Iridia, and this one was like you're on the tropical island with a volcano, you're dancing in front of like this temple. It was really cool. That one was kind of inspired by Disney's Adventureland. That's like this whole themed area that they have in their Disney parks. So that was backstory for that one. We also had oh my gosh. um I think it was like one of the earlier ones I remember. And yes, there it is. The Rift. That one was all themed around kind of like a dimensional portal. This one eventually shattered and basically threw a bunch of world stuff all over the place, and everything's like twisted and upside down or like multicolored, things like that. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, so what inspired the things like Dimensions of Doom, or there's another one I went by and saw as well. I was curious that inspired the Dimensions in the Dark Carnival, for example. Some of the other worlds you worked on, what inspired those ones?
Okay, so Dimensions of Doom, that one was inspired by scare mazes. Things like, you know, either the ones you have to just find on the side of the road during Halloween, or like at someone's house, because people make homemade haunted houses, which is really cool. That one was like I wanted to make my own horror experience, but I also wanted to make it, have that classic kind of haunted house feel. So, you kind of just have to walk through it. It's all linear, and you have those moments like the mannequins on the walls with like the polka dots. It's like I can kind of see that, but it looks like it might move, but it didn't. Then next thing you know, there's one in front of you that's just jumping straight at you. Just like throws your tension off, and it's just like, oh.
I will say those were for like Dimensions were very well built. I went through it. I went through one of the Dimensions before meeting up with you myself, and I'm very well done. I will say I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah. I hope to like kind of continue with the story of Dimensions of Doom in the future. Yeah. And also you mentioned like the Dark Carnival. That one was a fun event. That one I also implemented my love of theme parks into that one. So we had actual working rides that you could go on, and oh my gosh. So some of them were fine, but also some of them even make me like motion sick. I was like, yeah. But it was really cool to see with having a club event in that world, and also it's just seeing, I would periodically look back and on to some of the rides and just see people riding along and enjoying themselves. Just having a fun time on the on the very motion sick inducing rides, but it was cool to see, because most clubs I've seen out there, they're just all like kind of, jammed into one space, and you're either there or you're not. I like to provide opportunities where, like, okay, you can still be there for the music, but you can also go and explore this thing, like Sound Machine 2. That also implemented a ride as well. It's called like the Super Skyway, and then it took you all around the area, even like past the dance floor and everything, and like had it on ride photo. That one was fun to see.
Oh, so
Yeah.
what inspired you to do that kind of large open club venue as well? Because I've noticed in a lot of the worlds you've uploaded, they tend to be very grandiose in a sense, instead of, as you said, the typical rave box.
I'd say IRL spaces. A lot of theme parks are like, very, very grand, very like huge open spaces, especially out here in the US. Like my home park, which I technically have it as Knott's Berry Farm. It's kind of a small space, but also you have like these wide open pathways leading up to an attraction, and it's kind of like, okay, you have all the space to work with, and honestly, I think the dance floor for Sound Machine was kind of too big, in my opinion. I'm just like, oh. But, that's something I just need to work with, because I tend to make my spaces a bit too large. That's because, again, I'm thinking about the spaces with theme parks in mind, and, public spaces as well. So it kind of just transferred over in that sense. Just like, I love to plan out theme parks a lot, which is why, I played games like Planet Coaster, Roller Coaster Tycoon, things like that a lot. My love for those also is like a reason why I create stuff in here as well. It's just thematically, everything can be like so detailed, and everything can have its own story. It's really cool.
Oh. So now I'm going to ask you a really difficult question. I hope you're ready. Of all the events you've ran with Area 55, what have been some of the most memorable to you, or the ones that have meant the most? Hello, we're here to interrupt the most interesting thing being said in our current video to ask you a favor, which is, would you mind joining us on any of the socials we have, such as Discord? We're hanging out all the time playing video games, so you can catch us there very frequently. We have I run Twitter for us, which is LionTurtle21 on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. It'll always be Twitter. But either way, there's that. We also have a Patreon, which we actually have a whole other show for our Patreon members, which are Aliquum and the newest addition to the bunch, Future Oracle,
Niche, and Forbidden Zero, good friends of ours.
Yeah, thank you very much, you guys, for joining. It means a whole lot that you're there. And hope to see you there as well. We have a whole other show. There are some free ones we have released as well for the audio for you to listen to and to see what it's like. It's like a whole other show, so thank you. With that said, please enjoy the rest of your podcast on YouTube.
Ooh. Yeah, you're right. That is a hard one. I'd say last year's Halloween event, Fright Fest 13. That one had like some, interchangeable stages as well, but also it was really cool getting to see people like connect, and also getting to hear that like that reaction once they step into the world. I've heard some people go like, "Whoa, what?" Like that's kind of also like what drives me. Just it's kind of and outside in this world that you have so many really beautiful things to look at. You know, like even here where I live right in the middle of the desert, and it's gorgeous. Like, so you know, it's kind of all built off of that. You know, that look around and kind of appreciate your surroundings because there's beauty in everything. Yeah. And we just went off a tangent, and I lost track.
Oh, I asked. The initial question was, what have been some of the events you've ran through Area 55 that have meant the most to you, or that you remember the most?
Oh yes. So yes, Fright Fest 13, which you talked about. The Christmas celebration for last year, that one's also a lot of fun. And both of those events, there was like a delay in the world because like either something was broken or it was just like yeah, it's just something broken on the world. And so a lot of the stuff I do, especially with worlds and fireworks, that's basically me. Like all, you know, besides the streaming part and basically everything you see from the the areas leading up to the dance floor itself, that's all modeled, textured, placed in the world, built and uploaded by just me. It's kind of like a one-person thing, a one-man show, kinda, but not really, because I have my friends helping me out with streaming. But yeah, that's why it can take so long between events, because it's just me working on things, and I also work, so yeah, I don't have all the free time in the world.
Well, the fact that within the time you do have are able to pull grand shows like with Ferality and the fireworks shows, the Dimensions and other Halloween horror experiences, Area 55 worlds, is quite impressive to be able to pull off, especially with how they look. I'll say you're doing a fantastic job with those. At least I would say so.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just like, all this effort I put into is because of everyone I know. It's just like, but I also keep setting the standard for myself. Like I keep like accidentally raising the bar higher and higher. Each event comes up, and I was like, "Well, shoot, how am I supposed to top the last one?"
Oh, so isn't that also half the fun of creating something? Is trying to top your own work and to see what you come up with the next time?
Yes, it's half the fun, but also half the challenge.
Okay, what is of all the challenges, what are the ones you are most happy or proud to have come out the other side to? Like of all the projects you picked up and you want to chop yourself, what had the most work attached to it?
Ooh. Definitely with providing video along with some of the fireworks shows. That was definitely a challenge, especially finding, just a way to sync that up in the perfect way, which I kind of just. Oh yeah, oh yes. Not just that, but also Udon itself. For a while, I was like juggling back and forth, trying to figure out, okay, how can we make these shows work in a way so that if someone joins later on, it'll still go off for them, and also it's synced for everyone else. So I talked with Jake and Stark and Tapgoal about that as well, and yeah, that's they they definitely helped with one of the most confusing and frustrating parts in the world building process. They kind of like help take all the networking stuff that I don't really know much about. And they're like, okay, so they just they compile everything, give me code to work with, and I was like, wow, this is working flawlessly. Thank you. So,
Oh, okay. So I would also like to ask another question. I'm going to dip back a little farther into the conversation a little bit. You mentioned that you enjoy horror. What are some memories from that have solidified your love of that genre?
well, okay, so outside of Halloween events, you could go into, Halloween haunts, things like that. Um, I'm a bit squeamish when it comes to certain horror films, so I haven't seen like every um horror movie on Earth or anything. Um, for me, it's more Halloween and everything that's built around it, like the these impressive haunted houses you can walk through that have like these almost like multi-million-dollar production that you can like walk through.
Oh, okay. I can
But
understand.
yeah,
I can understand why you would enjoy those. Those would usually provide a very memorable experiences. I've had a few. I remember once there was a haunted house down the road from where I lived, and the guy got in trouble because every year he would take out this. Mind you, this is like 2 decades ago. He would take out a chainless chainsaw and chase kids down the road 1 or 2 blocks every year, and there'd be a line to go into his house all the way down the road just to go into it, just to have those same kids book it down the road 2 blocks while the guy seems to be having the time of his life.
oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that so much. uh yeah, the whole just like scaring people and seeing their reactions is just like so much fun. um One of my friends, his name is Convulsion, if you're watching this, I swear you're gonna turn. Oh my gosh, he turns like all the scare actors against me. It's crazy. Like because of him, I was like in a theme park one day, and like we were just hanging out together, and next I'm surrounded by like these scare actors in like a circle. Like I was just surrounded by evil clowns. I was like, okay, thanks, Convulsion. You're gonna have a lot more fun with me whenever we go through that spider-themed house this year. And yeah. I'm not a fan of spiders, so this this is gonna be fun. uh,
You mentioning scare actors remind me of another Halloween memory I've had that I like to share with you. Where I live, there's a haunted hayride that goes by every year, and before they stopped using scare actors, there was an incident where someone pulled off the thing was known by one of the scare actors. So during the entire ride, there's this clown following the hayride all the way in the cornfields. You get to see his face poke out of the grass every once in a while, just poking out, staring at the same
oh
person.
my god.
It's just the same girl in the corner being looked at the entire ride till about midway through. The guy just runs up with I think it was a leaf blower disguised as a chainsaw, but whatever it was, he ran up, grabbed her by the leg, and yoinked her off. And everyone just kind of stopped dead as this evil-looking clown just drags the lady off into the cornfields, and you never hear from her again.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh my. That that must have been wild for everyone else running off.
So you said,
Oh my god.
you said something interesting to me. You said, do you when you run your Halloween events, do you have scare actors in the world?
So we did that once actually. We had like what 2 or 3 scare actors in the world. It kind of like I don't know. It went pretty well, I think. it's something I'll have to experiment with more because there's the whole avatar limits thing, and also depending on how many people you have in the world, it can become super laggy, etc. So that's something I'll need to play around with.
Oh, all
But
right.
it's definitely something I want to have again in the future.
Oh, I don't blame you. You said you used them once. What was the event you used the scare actors in, and what was your audience's reception to the whole thing?
That was the first Dimensions of Doom. Yeah.
You've been an angle.
And I realized my play space. Yeah, I was like, hey, yeah, my headset likes to do that sometimes. It's just like, so I'm
Being
running
haunted.
a Quest 3 connected to a laptop, so it likes to move its play space around a couple times.
He's playing with the haunted.
Um,
They're haunting him. That's why he's all over the place.
Yes.
Spirits are coming after his ass.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. So, last final couple questions before we start wrapping up. First is your name. Where did the name come from, and why do you still use it?
Okay, so my name actually came from my love of Disneyland again. So there's this ride called Space Mountain. They have, if you look closely, especially in the Magic Kingdom version, there is a sign that says Starport 75. And that's kind of where I got my name. My Starport as in Space Mountain, and then the 55 comes from the year Disneyland opened, 1955. So, and I kind of just kept it around because a lot of people just call me Starport or Star, and I was like, yeah, I didn't really want to change it either. So,
Oh, and the avatar you're in is why do you use the avatar, and is there anything about it that has any sentiment to you?
well, I love purple. Anything purple. Especially the iridescent colors. So, this one actually, it was textured by Becky's Pony Mad. She did such an amazing job of this, and it actually kind of transferred into my persona. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, it's kind of like what it's the appearance of me when I'm in VR. It's kind of my inward appearance outward, I guess I would say. So,
Oh. Well, Starport, thank you very much for letting us get to know you and hear all about the fireworks you've made, the memories you've made, as well as Area 55 and all those really awesome worlds you've built. Thank you for letting us get to know you for a little bit. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yeah. This is actually kind of like my first whole public interview thing. So I've never been really talked about this for podcast or anything. So this is a definite first for me. So it's been a really cool experience. Just kind of getting to talk and share my experiences and things with other people.
Well, we're both honored, very much so, to even be the channel you come on for your first public interview. So thank you for allowing us that experience.
Yep, it's an honor in our situation too.
Oh. So with that said, where can the audience find you if they wish to reach out and find your experiences, any of the creations you've made?
Okay. First and foremost, the VR chat group is Area 55 1590. That we put announcements, upcoming announcements for events and whatever on there. Even if it's just something like a firework world coming up or things like that. Also, we have a Discord, Area 55. That one we post announcements in as well. I'm also on Twitter. I'll never call it X. I'm on Twitter at Starport1955, and you can also find me on YouTube as well. Just like Starport55 on there. I just post random things on there as well. Yeah. And of course, you'll find me on here on VR Chat, Discord as well as Starport55. So.
Oh. Well, everything that was mentioned will be in the Hoobly What's It description thing down there, as always, with a bunch of other fun links and whodahs and things for you to check out if you so choose. But before we close it off and hand it to Raptor, we'll ask you, the audience, a question. What's your favorite Halloween or spooky memory that you've had? It could be in video games, VR, it could be horror game, it could be even that one time when you were a kid in Halloween. We'd love to hear all about it and read the story ourselves right in the comments. With that said, Raptor, you know the thing.
You got it. No matter what, folks, when you come into VR, it could be a scary situation. It could be a Big Bang theory, if you want to call it that, with a little bit of spark. But when you do light it, make sure you run, because those clowns or a leaf blower just might catch your ass. We'll talk to you later. Bye.